Hello, I'm Stefhanie Arreguin. This is People in Perspective, and today on the show I have Alan Morales. He's the Executive Director of the Leadership in the Grange, which is a nonprofit organization. Hi Alan, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, so first I want to talk about your early life. Where did you go to college and what did you specialize in?
I graduated from Northern Illinois University with a Bachelor of Science in Family Social Services. My emphasis was child development, second major in psychology, and a minor in gerontology.
And how did you decide to go into something like child development?
I think it had much to do with the way I was raised. My mom raised 7 of us by herself. I'm the only boy and the youngest, and always felt like I wanted to make an impact on the lives of youth who maybe didn't have the same kind of resources available to them.
So was there anything else that really strafed you towards community work, or was kind of your background the main topic?
When I was in 7th grade, it was the first time I started getting involved with a youth leadership development program that had a community service component to it. We would raise dollars and help other charities. In addition to that, we would deliver food baskets to a low-income housing site in Chicago called Cabrini Green. And so just out of that, the relationships that were developed with the other youth, we wanted to make a difference, and we did that in the local community.
That's amazing. And can you tell me a little bit about some of your previous jobs before the leadership?
Sure. My first job was, quite frankly, I did a couple internships. One was with Boys and Girls Club Chicago, and I did some case management work with court-appointed police referrals. In addition to that, I did a full-time internship at the Oakcrest Retirement Center, which is near Northern Illinois University, working with their senior center. Wasn't quite sure exactly what age I wanted to work with, so I wanted to experience both.
That's amazing. All right, so the leadership, what exactly is their mission as executive director? What do you oversee, and the leadership as a whole, what's really drives you to still work with them?
Well, the mission of the leadership is to empower youth through community-minded programs that promote confidence, knowledge, and leadership. And our programs are pretty diverse. The spectrum of youth in terms of ages that we work with are kindergarten through primarily 18, and we also do some informal adult services as well.
That's amazing. All right, so what has been your specific impact on the organization?
Well, as executive director, I'm basically responsible for everything. Prior to this, I was also a YMCA executive director, and ultimately, at the end of the day, when you have that title, you're responsible for the entire operations of the organization. In addition to that, because it is a nonprofit organization which is governed by a board of directors, one of my primary responsibilities is to work with them. Another is facility management, community development, along with fund development.
And the larger projects, I know personally that you go on work trips a lot of the time, at least once a year. Can you tell me a little bit about those and what you guys do?
Sure. We do a high school service trip once a year. Generally, it's tied to some type of disaster relief work. It doesn't have to be. The high school students that are involved with the program ultimately recommend and determine where we're going to be going for that week. It's designed to bring students together from different high schools to make an impact in a different community. Sometimes it's local, sometimes it's not. We've been to South Carolina, Michigan, Indiana, Kansas. We even went to with Hurricane Katrina. We went out there a couple years in a row to do some disaster relief work. So it's for high school students, it's a kind of a big project. For me, it's a week away from the desk and an opportunity to get to know the kids that I have the privilege of working with. So I choose to go because it keeps me motivated in my work to get to know the youth that I'm working with.
Absolutely. And what are some of the most memorable moments from the work trips?
Well, I have 2 adult children. Both of them have participated in the programs as well, have gone on service trips, and I believe we were in Pearlington, Mississippi, and a hurricane went through there, and we were basically destructing homes and consequently things were kind of, thrown around and on the ground, and one item that was found was basically a puzzle that a kid found, and one of the program participants, and he really wanted to return it to the family. And so we tried to figure out who the family was that owned that home, and consequently there was time spent with the family, which kind of they explained to us exactly not only what had happened, but the impact that it made in their lives. So it gave us an opportunity to really get to know the family, and basically it enhanced the experience that the kids had, because they had a better idea of the kind of impact that they're making through their volunteer work.
And would you say that something like that is your favorite part about working with the Leadership in a nonprofit?
On a personal level, yes, because I like to be hands-on. Professionally, being responsible for keeping the doors open to the organization, working with various community organizations, other nonprofits are other parts of my job that are very satisfying. I often am not in the office, not because I'm not working, but I'm involved with West Suburban Chamber of Commerce, the LaGrange Business Association. I'm the immediate past president of the LaGrange Kiwanis Club. I'm a Rotarian in Brookfield Riverside. So I'm always trying to give back. As a resident of Brookfield, I feel like it's my responsibility to make a difference in the community I live in.
And what is the importance of community to you, and do you think everyone else should probably be involved in community?
That's a very good question. I think that community is defined differently by different people. To me, it's beyond the walls of my home. It's beyond the walls within my family, my nuclear family. It's really about getting to know others, supporting your neighbors, making a difference not only in your community but the greater society. Community can be as big as you would like to make it.
Right, and with that, as well as you doing larger community work with organizations, what are some of the personal services that you've provided for this community?
Well, mainly through my volunteer work, which is on top of my job. I've been with the Leadership for 15 years now. Prior to that, I was an executive director for YMCA for 2 years. Prior to that, I worked 15 years for Boys and Girls Clubs of Chicago. So there's always been this desire for me to go above and beyond and participate in volunteer work that's gonna make a difference.
And do you think that your prospects of that have influenced your children at all into becoming more involved?
My son started his own nonprofit at the age of 21. He is a fairly well-known hip-hop dancer in Chicago. He's graduated from UIC and is now into marketing, but his side gig is teaching dance. And so what he did was, when he was in high school, one of his friends passed away, and he did a fundraiser for the family for the funeral costs. About 2 years later, he decided he wanted to continue to help others. So he convinced some of his dancer friends, other dancers, to create a nonprofit organization that offered free dance classes, and then the participants were asked to make donations. Those donations were turned around and given to a local charity within the Chicagoland area. So that organization continues. He's less involved in a leadership role, but as for my daughter, she graduated with a degree in psychology, is now working with infants, and wants to work with and for youth. Will eventually go back and get her master's in social work. So I've dragged them along throughout their younger years, participating in various volunteer opportunities like preparing meals for the homeless, giving out toys at Toys Drive, just basically hoping to teach them that there's so much more to life than just ourselves, and that if we're lucky enough and have the resources to share, then I think it's our responsibility to do that.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for coming on the show today, Alan. I'm Stefhanie Arreguin. This has been People in Perspective with Alan Morales. Thank you for joining us, and hope to see you next time.